Okay then, today we are going to continue with the inverse. So yesterday we learned that the inverse means two operations can be linked and we can use those two operations to help us solve problems. So the inverse operations that we know are add and subtract. So if we had an addition number sentence, we can use that to work out some subtraction number sentences. Or if we had a subtraction number sentence, we can use that to work out an addition number sentence. So they are the inverse of one another, which means they are linked. So we can put them in a bubble together. They are linked together when it comes to maths. Okay, so I'm going to leave those at the top because they are going to help us today. So I'm going to give you three numbers. Now these three numbers can be used to make a number sentence. So I want you to have a think. First of all, what addition number sentences, because there'll be more than one. What addition number sentences can you make from these three numbers? Have a think as well when we're adding, where does the whole amount go? So let's go with 14, 19 and 5. So have a think, what two addition number sentences can you make using those three numbers? And you'll need the addition symbol and you'll also need the equals symbol. So have a think. Okay then, so out of these three numbers, I know 19 is the whole amount because it's the biggest number. So when we're adding, the whole needs to go at the end of my number sentence. I'm going to put 19 there to start with, and I'm going to put my equals next to it because it equals my whole. So then that means I've got the two parts left because they are the two smaller numbers that make the whole. So that means I could make the number sentence 14 plus 5 equals 19. Or we also know when we're adding, we can add in any order. That's what's special about adding. We can't do that with subtraction, only adding. We can add in any order and still end up with the same whole amount. So instead of adding 14 and 5, I could start with the 5 and add on 14. It would still give me 19. Okay then, so we can also use these three numbers and these two number sentences to find some subtraction number sentences, because that would then be the inverse. So now have a think, what do we already know about subtraction? We know when we add, we finish with the whole amount. When we subtract, what do we do instead? Okay then, so when we subtract, it means we're going to start with the whole amount. So I'm going to put 19 at the beginning of my number sentence because it's the whole amount, just like over here. Okay then, I'm going to put my subtraction symbol next because that's what we're doing now. So if I started with 19, I could take away the part of 14 and it would leave me with 5. Or there is another subtraction number sentence we could work out. So yesterday we didn't go on to this, but we're going to do it today. So I could start with 19, but this time instead of taking away the 14, I'm going to take away the 5, and then that will leave me with 14. So that's the difference between subtraction and addition. When we add, we get the same number, but we can add in any order. When we subtract, we have to start with the whole because it's the biggest amount, and then we're going to end up with different amounts because it depends what part we take away. If I take away 14, it's going to leave me with 5. If I take away the 5, it's going to leave me with 14. It's the same two numbers, but in a different order depending on what steps we do first. Okay, so just to put it into context now, I'm going to put it on a part whole, just so you can see how all of these number sentences, these inverse number sentences, are connected. So out of these three numbers, we knew 19 was the whole, and then 14 and 5 were the parts. So let's get my Deans just to show you. Okay then, so I'm going to make my 14 and my 5 because together they will make my 19, as we'll find out in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's start with the adding number sentences first. I've put that 14 plus 5 equals 19. So I've got 14, I've got 5. If I add them together, then it should give me 19. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Well, that definitely works. So now I'm going to try my other adding number sentence. This time I'm going to start with a 5. I'm going to add the 5 and then I'm going to add the 14. Let's check. I've still ended up with 19, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It still works. So these three number sentences so far, these three numbers so far have made me 2 add-in number sentences. Now we're going to check with subtraction. So I've said 19. So let's start with the 19 up here. I've said if I take away 14, so let's take away the 14 from the whole, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, I should be left with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that definitely worked as well. Now I'm going to try my last number sentence. So I need to start with the whole again, start with 19. There's my 19. But this time I'm going to take away 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that means I should be left with the part 14. So this should be 14. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That worked as well. Okay, so when we add and subtract, we can create fact families. That's what we call these. When we have 4 number sentences using the inverse, they are a fact family. These 4 number sentences are all connected using the inverse, add and subtract, and using the same 3 amounts, the same 3 numbers. Okay, so today you are going to see if you can find the fact families for the following groups of 3 numbers. So I'm going to give you 3 numbers. You're going to see if you can find the 2 addition number sentences and the 2 subtraction number sentences using the inverse method. And you can use your part whole to help you along the way. Okay, so you can make these 3 numbers on your part whole to find the number sentences. So your 3 numbers, I would like you to find the 4 number sentences for are, so the first set are 13, 6 and 19. So what 4 number sentences can you make with those 3 numbers using the inverse methods? And have a think which number there is the whole. If you were putting them into your part whole, which number there is the whole and which 2 numbers are the parts. So your next 3 numbers are, let's go with 11, 6 and 17. So what 4 number sentences can you make using those 3 numbers? And then your last set of numbers are, let's go with 27, 21 and 6. What 4 number sentences can you make using those 3 numbers? Again, have a look which number is the whole, which 2 numbers are the parts. Use your Deans on your part whole to help you work it out if you need to. So the fact families I would like you to find. You can also find this worksheet on our school website if you wanted another activity to do in connection to fact families. So the first part, you've got your 10 frames and you've got the whole amount there, 18, and you've got to find the 2 missing parts, thinking about the 2 different types of insects that make 18, and then find the fact families. You've also got a bar model, so you've got the whole is 18 and your 2 parts are 11 and 7. What 4 number sentences can you make using the inverse to help you? And then you've got another bar model, so this time you've got the 2 parts at the top. So these 2 parts, 4 and 15, make the whole. So you need to work out what the whole is to start with. So you can maybe start with your adding number sentence, add your 2 parts to find the whole. But you've also got to have a look over here because it's starting with your equals. So it's starting with the whole and then it's got the 2 parts that you're adding, or it's starting with the part you're left with and the whole and the part you're taking away. So just have a think when you get to this section, because they have swapped it around slightly from this top section. Rather than finishing with the whole for your add-in or with a part for your taking away, you're going to start with the whole for your add-in number sentences, or start with one of the parts for your taking away number sentences. Okay, so that is an extra that you can find on the school website if you wish to do some extra maths work for this.